Next preview for week 7 is an old school NFC East rivalry. The Philadelphia Eagles heading up the interstate to take on the New York Giants. Feels like a perfect segment for On the Road, presented by Honda. Dreams are unstoppable. And I'm not going to say MetLife Stadium has been a horror show for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not the case. They're 9-5 since that stadium opened in 2010. But you look at recent years, don't take these games for granted, Eagles fans. Jalen Herz just 1-3 as Philadelphia's starter in New York. For one reason or another, things have gone wrong here in recent years. The season finale last year, they lose 27-10, was kind of emblematic of that collapse in the second half of the 2023 season. So certainly don't think the Eagles should be taking this for granted. We're going to dive into it right now. And who better to talk to than our resident New York Giants, really NFC East expert, Ralph Vacchiano. He will be at the game on Sunday. He joins me now to dive into all things. And Ralph, I think this is the most interested I've been in an Eagles Giants game in a while. I mean, I know they've played a lot of great games over the years, but the last, I don't know, 5-6 years, it hasn't had that much juice to it. The Giants have been down for most of that time. The Eagles can typically count on wins in this series, but like I just said, that hasn't really been the case recently.
Yeah, and going into this season, I didn't think it would be the case again because I really thought the Eagles would get off to an early roll and start to run away with the division, and I knew the Giants would struggle a little bit. But what we've seen so far, take away last week, Daniel Jones for the Giants is playing better, and the Eagles' offense really hasn't kicked into gear very well. So right now, the way they're playing, they're closer than I would have expected. And it could make for an intriguing game, unless the Eagles suddenly get things right or the Giants start to fall apart. Obviously, that could change it. But I think that they are probably a little more evenly matched than I was expecting them to be.
I would have guessed that the Eagles, 2 weeks ago, I would have said Eagles as an 8 or 9 point favorite, even on the road in MetLife Stadium. It's not the case, just a 3 point spread, according to the experts. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's potential for this to be a very even matchup. Before we get into that, I got to address the human interest element of it all, which is that Saquon Barkley apparently thinks he's not going to get booed by New York Giants fans. I'll read the exact quote. He said, "Maybe I'm naive, but I think it's over. That chapter's closed. I truly don't care no more, and I'm pretty sure fans don't care no more." Saquon, you're naive, my friend. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And I know he's a great Giant. He seems like a great guy, but that's the way this division works. You go back to the stadium that you played in after your first game since joining a rival team. I'm guessing the Giants fan base is going to let him hear it all day on Sunday.
Look, there are Giants fans that are still ticked off about things that happened in the 1970s. So they certainly haven't forgotten what happened last March. And, look, I don't think it's necessarily fair. I think Saquon Barkley would have stayed in New York if the money was there. It wasn't. So he went to the Philadelphia Eagles. That's the team that was going to pay him. Nobody else came up with a contract offer like that. It's business, and it's not his fault. The Giants had their chance over a period of a couple of years where they could have given him that kind of contract. So I don't think they should be bitter, but they are. And they really took it out on him on social media. And we certainly heard the calls to talk radio and people who are really angry and consider Saquon Barkley a traitor. And I would be shocked if he gets many more than a few token cheers during the game. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not booed every time he touches the ball because New York sports fans, probably Northeast sports fans, just don't get over things that fast. They hold grudges for a very, very long time. Maybe after his career, when he comes back, he'll get some applause, but he's going to have to be retired and distanced from Philadelphia first.
And I've seen this too many times. Yeah, like 5 years from now, this might all be water under the bridge, especially if Saquon's not still an Eagle. But for at least this season, probably even all of next season, that's just going to be something that lingers. That's just the way sports work. So sorry in advance, Saquon, but I do think he has a great chance to get the last laugh. He's off to a fantastic start. If you're watching, you just saw his stats up on the screen. Really, other than a down week last week against Cleveland, I think he's been one of the best things going for this Philadelphia offense. And if you listen to Nick Sirianni, The explanation for his chirping with fans was that maybe the fans thought he wasn't running the ball enough. Do you think the Eagles will try to get Saquon going against this New York front? It sounds like Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence are going to play, but maybe there's some potential for a mismatch there with some injuries on the front.
Yeah, first of all, the Eagle fans have been clamoring for Nick Sirianni and whoever his offensive coordinator of the day happens to be to run the ball more for a couple of years now. So I'm not surprised he's hearing those chants. You spend that kind of money on Barkley, you should run him a little bit more, and I do think they will. That being said, they're also getting healthy in the rest of their offense. They'll have AJ Brown back, they'll have Devontae Smith back, and that gives them a pretty good passing attack, which theoretically should open things up for Saquon Barkley. I think Nick Sirianni has a little flair for the dramatic and an understanding of the situation. So I'm sure he wants Saquon Barkley to have a big game going into the Meadowlands. All that being said, they are down an offensive lineman. Jordan Mailata is going to miss the game, their left tackle. And the Giants' defense has been a lot better than anybody expected, especially up front. They have more sacks than any team in the league, the best pass rush. Dexter Lawrence is having a monster year. He is expected to play. So is Brian Burns, who's been terrific as well. But that front has been surprisingly good. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be easy for Saquon Barkley, but I do think Nick Sirianni is going to try, and Kellen Moore too, obviously, for whatever input he has in his own offense. He's going to try to get Saquon Barkley to be the star of this game on Sunday.
If the Giants manage to win this game, I mean, you just talked about it perfectly, but there is some potential for havoc in the pass rush game when Jalen Hurts does drop back to pass. Dexter Lawrence, I don't know how realistic it is for a guy on a middling team to win Defensive Player of the Year. Typically, those awards go to guys on big time Super Bowl contenders, but 7 sacks, second in the league in pressures from interior defensive linemen. I think he's got 17, according to Pro Football Focus. And then you just mentioned Jordan Mailata is going to miss this game. Fred Johnson is working at left tackle. I think obviously you've got potential for a mismatch there with Brian Burns. And even surprisingly, Landon Dickerson for Philadelphia has allowed 15 pressures and 3 sacks this season. I would, for a variety of reasons, try to keep Jalen Hurts out of true drop back situations in this game.
I would too. And honestly, I've been surprised about how much the Eagles' offensive line has struggled this year. I know we expected a little regression with Jason Kelsey gone. I don't think it's all his absence that's doing it. I think they've just, whether it's the scheme or whatever it is, it just hasn't been as powerful. Still one of the better offensive lines in the league, but not the best. And Jalen Hurts has been in some trouble, been forced out of the pocket a little bit too much. And that's going to be the key for the Giants' victory. They really need to keep him off balance and kind of just knock the rhythm out of that Eagles offense. The Giants don't have much of an offense of their own. They will get probably Malik Neighbors back if he can clear concussion protocol in time. That rookie receiver is a huge part of their passing game. He really is their passing game. Devin Singletary, their running back, looks like he'll play. They did lose their own left tackle, Andrew Thomas, which is a big blow to the Giants' offensive line. But, the Giants have some potential to generate a little bit of offense, but they're not going to get a lot. Their ceiling is in the high teens, low 20s. The Eagles could be more explosive than that unless the pass rush can get to Jalen Hurts. That to me is the entire key to this game. If they can get to him early, the Giants will have a chance. If it looks like Jalen Hurts has plenty of time in the pocket, he'll just pick them apart all day long.
Feel free to remind me I said this if this game is a dud, but like for all the reasons you just said, I just think there's potential for some real excitement here. I mean, Malik Neighbors, hopefully he can go against a shaky Philadelphia secondary. Andrew Thomas is also out in this game, so both pass rushes should have opportunity to make life miserable on the other quarterback. I don't know. I'm thinking we might see a really good old-fashioned Giants-Eagles game, which just doesn't feel like it's been the case here over the last, I don't know, 6-7 years or so. Hopefully I'm right, because I feel like we're overdue for a really good game in this series, Ralph, and I hope it pans out for you, man.
I think we could get it. I hope so too. It'd be nice to see a good game. Again, it's sort of if the Eagles play down to the level they've been playing at, and the Giants can get that level up just a little bit, then they're pretty even. But the Eagles still have that breakout potential. We've been talking about this for really since the middle of last year, maybe the beginning of last year. They've got so much potential to be an explosive team, and they just can't put it together. Maybe this is the week, but the way they've been going, probably not. And if that case, in that case, I think if their offense is diminished a little bit, the Giants can hang around. And if they can hang around, who knows what can happen in the fourth quarter.
I think that's a really good point. One way or the other, this is going to be a game worth talking about because the Eagles are either going to, crack their neck and get back to business and get back to looking like a really good team, or we could be having a completely different conversation about just how muddy the NFC East is by Sunday night. So we'll see which way it goes. Ralph, always appreciate talking with you, man. I'm sure we'll check in when this one's over.
Thanks, Dave. Enjoy the game.